Alright, so before we can make lights flash and buttons manipulate code, we have to set up all the pins. So in Blockly this was all done for you, but when we code by hand we have to do it manually. So you can type pin mode, and then pin mode is a function that takes as its first parameter a pin number. So if you're using pin 2 for one of your lights, set it as an output pin. So pin number is the first parameter, second parameter is whether it's an output or an input. So just do that for all the pins you're using. And similarly for our button, we need to set the pin mode for that. I'm using pin 8 for my button as an input pin. Now if you try to digital write to these pins, 2, 3, 4, and 5, it will work. And if you try to read from pin 8, that will also work. So let's test this really quick. If you have your light already hooked up in the loop, you can just write digital write, and then whichever pin you want to write to first. I'm going to write to 2 with high. And then if we want to test our button at the same time, which I would run this code first if it was me. So if you're setting this up now, run this code first, see if pin 2's light runs up. But then you could also test your button. If digital read and then your button. So digital read's a function that just takes the pin number and will return either high or low for what it's reading. So if digital read 8, so if your button is pressed, remember digital read will just return 1 or 0, so it can be thought of as true or false. If the button is being pressed, make the pin 2 light turn on, else digital write pin 2 with low. So it will turn off if it's not being pressed. Okay, so now that you've tested your circuits and your code, and we're done with the setup, we can move on to actually coding our flashing light project, which will take place in the next video.